So, how are you? It is Friday. You know what that means. It is time for our lunchtime learning, where we go live and we do something fun, whether it's a workout from Fantasy Fitness, whether it's meditation, cooking with Coach on Feast Like a Hero. You know what time it is. So, I apologize for the delay. I was in the zone, like total flow state. If you don't know what the flow state is, total flow state. I am finishing the final touches on the Keep Your Seat Strengthening Conditioning Dragon Rider Training 12 program. That's really I had like last night inspiration. I wanted to change a few things, so I was in the flow state, finishing up the Keep Your Seat Strengthening Conditioning 12-week program, and then I looked at the clock and I was like, time to go live. So I'm ready to go. This whole month has been like the second half of last month. Everything Dragons Riders training. So last month we went over how to survive the gauntlet. We broke down what the gauntlet is, the workouts to do to train the gauntlet, actually did a workout to survive the gauntlet. Then we went into the Keep Your Seat Strength and Conditioning workout, which released today at 12 o'clock. And next week we release the Dragons Riders Training, Grounding, and Shielding 4-week meditation program, which is why we're here today. So we are on part 2 of a 2-part live for our Grounding and Shielding meditation program. So last week we did grounding, and this week we're doing shielding. Now, we are going to be focusing on creating mental shields to protect you from external stressors and negative influences inspired by the Empyrean Series. So this comes from multiple different parts of Fourth Wing and Iron. The grounding is finding your mental space like we did last week, building your sanctuary, having a sanctuary, able to stay grounded while stressors are happening and still stay focused and centered. Is creating a mental shield, whether it be a bubble or a wall or a force field around that mental space or your mental anchor, so that you are protected from those external influences and stressors that I was talking about. Now, this, for instance, in Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, Violet has to build shields to protect from Dane getting in her brain and reading her memories. And it also happens in regards to trying to keep the dragons out, or Violet trying to out, or they shields up to keep people out of our minds, as well as I also think of Kat, when Kat was trying to, or using her power to influence Violet's emotions. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a meditation and breathwork technique to build those shields so that we can make sure that our emotions aren't affected by other people and we don't let other people get into our minds or cross our boundaries. And that's kind of how that applies in our, I don't want to say real world, because fantasy world to me is still real world, but in our world. So if you missed part 1, you're going to need part 1 to do part 2. So like pause me, go back, watch Introduction to Grounding, learn how to build your mental sanctuary, and then come back and do part 2 when we dive into shielding. So we're going to dive right in. Like I said, we're focusing on building these mental shields, protective barriers, but however you want to visualize them as a dragon rider. And we're going to take a few breaths to get grounded first in our mental sanctuary, which is why you have to watch part 1 first. And then we're going to build these as vivid and detailed as possible. So let's dive in. First and foremost, you can keep your eyes open, you can close them halfway, you can pick a point of focus in front of you. In martial arts, they call it zanshin. In yoga, they call it drishti, a point of focus and pointed focus. Close your eyes, take some deep 3-part breaths. So inhaling in through the nose, inflating the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And then exhaling, deflating from the reverse order, the chest, the ribs, the belly. Inhaling through the nose, inflating belly, ribs, chest, deflating chest, ribs, belly. In and out through the nose for this breath work. So we're going to return to our grounding space from our previous session. So going back to that mental sanctuary, your grounding space, your mental anchor, however you want to call it. And it could be a real location, it could be a favorite spot, an imaginary sanctuary, but take a moment to feel the sense of calm and stability that it brings you. And again, the more vivid, the better. Think of all your senses. What are you touching? What are you smelling? What do you see? Textures, colors. What do you hear? Take a few breaths here, continuing to build your mental sanctuary. Now, we will visualize a barrier around that mental sanctuary. So this barrier can be a wall, a bubble, a force field, whatever feels most protective to you. Let your mind what it wants to imagine. Imagine the texture, the color, the strength of this barrier. Make it as vivid and detailed as possible. Continuing with that 3-part breath. In through the nose, out through the nose. Feel your feet through the floor of your mental space. And take a moment to in your grounding space and visualize a new barrier. Maybe a stone wall. Maybe it's like a chain link fence. Maybe it's vines intertangling amongst each other. Maybe it's a force field. What does it look like around you? How does it protect you? Maybe it's a giant wave. Just go, but not water. Now that you have that protective barrier around your mental space, I want you to imagine a scenario where someone is trying to influence you, whether it be change your mind on something that you have strong boundaries on, whether it's trying to affect your emotions to manipulate you into a situation, whether they're trying to read your mind like Dane, or they're trying to read your intentions like Zayden. I want you to observe how this barrier blocks their attempts, keeping your mental space safe and secure. Feel the strength and resilience of your shield and reinforce it with each exhale. So you inhale, protect, exhale, reinforce. Inhale, protect, exhale, reinforce. What does that look like, that protection? Does the shield vibrate? Does it shimmer? Does the negative emotion just bounce off? Do the vines get bigger? It comes out of it and attacks the negative influence. Protection look like for you? What does that penetrability look like? That strength. And how does it make you feel knowing that you're secure and protected? Take a few more breaths here, inhaling protection, exhaling reinforcement. Slowly begin to let that practice go. Begin to come back to our reality. Now, that is an example of how you can apply shielding into your daily life, whether it's through mindfulness and a meditation practice, or maybe cooling down after a workout. You can practice mental shielding once a day for 5 to 10 minutes. You can do it alongside your grounding. You don't have to do it separately. You can build your mental sanctuary and then build the shield like we did today. We also have a phase 3 almost where we build an additional shield for external influences like cat manipulating emotions. So one thing I definitely recommend is when you're practicing this grounding and shielding for 5 to 10 minutes a day, some things that are beneficial for you are to journal after your grounding and shielding experience. Journaling helps you absorb your practice and understand your progress. So some things that you can journal about after you do this grounding and shielding technique. You can ask yourself, how did visualizing your mental shield affect your sense of security? What details did you include in your shield to make it feel strong and impenetrable? And why do you think you chose those details? How does this practice impact your ability to maintain healthy boundaries and avoid crossing them on others as well? So staying within your boundaries, but also respecting others' boundaries. So this could be a translation of people-pleasing or over-explaining yourself when it's not needed. And don't forget to continue practicing this because there are so many benefits to having a mindfulness or meditation practice. Not only just the breathing and working on your lung capacity, but it accesses the autonomic nervous system that allows us to control and regulate our emotions because we get to access and control our parasympathetic and sympathetic responses, which allow us to do things like lower our cortisol levels, improve sleep quality, improve cognition, decision making, mental clarity. So just by doing this 5 minutes a day and being able to enter the world of the Empyrean Series while you're doing it, makes your brain, mind, and body all that much better for it. So great job today. Don't forget to keep practicing. As a brief reminder, this is only one day of our 4-week grounding and shielding meditation program, which is a 30-day mindfulness program that focuses on teaching you the powerful techniques of grounding and shielding, which are our fantasy of meditation and mindfulness. Over the 4 weeks, you get weekly videos, homework covering everything from breathwork basics to advanced shielding and grounding techniques, and I also explain more of the science. I am very much so explain the science behind why I'm teaching the things I'm teaching to you guys, whether it be a specific exercise or a meditation technique, because if you understand the why, you'll be that much more motivated to do it. If you don't understand the why, then you're just going to say, oh, the heck with it, and throw it out your window. So just a little bit of a detailed covered. In week 1, you'll get to basics of breath work, you'll get into introduction of grounding and visualizations of grounding, advanced grounding techniques, introduction to sealing, and applications of mental shielding. Week 3 focuses from external shielding against emotional overwhelm and combining grounding shielding techniques. Well, you'll learn multiple different breathwork techniques like 3-part breath, coherency breath, box breathing, and alternate nostril breathing during this 4-week series. And then in week 4, we apply these techniques daily. Keep the habit up and running even after the program's over. So if you want more information about this full program, it's going to release next Friday. And more programs like this, Fantasy Fitness Inspired. We have the Gauntlet Training, Valkyrie Bodyweight Bootcamp, Backpaw Association. I'm going to leave a link in the comments for all of our freebies, all of our memberships, all of our programs, so you can learn more about all of everything Fantasy Fitness. Thank you for joining us on today's Dragon Rider training. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.